Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a wonderful evening today in TEDxAAIA. And before I start the speech, I wanted to congratulate all the previous speakers before me because they have really shaped my idea of what compassion means to me. And now I want to share with you my perspective of compassion. So a few years back, I had the privilege of visiting Dharamshala, which is an idyllic mountain retreat in the Himalayan region of northern India. And some of you may know that Dharamshala is the seat of the Tibetan government in exile. And in this serene and energizing environment, I had the opportunity to visit the Tibet Museum. And I felt the warmth and the devotedness of a community that has seen a roller coaster of emotions for over 70 years. And despite all the hardships that they have faced, what is still deeply ingrained in the Tibetan culture is an overwhelming sense of compassion. And when I was there, I was struck by the deeper meaning of a quote that was said by His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, in which he said, "Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. And without them, we cannot survive." But what is compassion, you may ask? Well, compassion is not a concrete idea like food or clothes, but it's an abstract concept. And according to Kano, there are three main steps to compassion. The first step is noticing when you're finding the person that is suffering. Then the second step is feeling, where you're being emotionally touched by those who are suffering. And the last step is responding, when you're actually going out to help that person in need. And just like the quote said, they are not luxuries. We cannot buy compassion. Otherwise, the world would already be a better place with rich people. But that is not the case. But compassion is something that is something that we learn through our experiences and journeys. And compassion is something deeply ingrained in our hearts and minds. And whether you like it or not, compassion is deeply ingrained in our modern-day society. It is present in schools where teachers have to handhold each student with care, like in AIA. And furthermore, it's also present in hospitals where doctors have to console each patient during their vulnerabilities. Whether it's a broken bone or a cancer, the doctors will always be there to help out their patients. And actually, studies show, according to De Zulueta in the US, compassionate patient care can actually decrease the legal action taken against doctors. So compassion is also beneficial financially. Therefore, I urge you to stay with me for the next few minutes as we can unpack the concept of compassion. As you can take the stories from others and we can use them when we are actually in need to help someone. And my talk today tells you about the stories I experienced that shaped my idea of compassion. And actually, these stories are present in our day-to-day life, but we just need a little attention to spot them. But before I start my stories, I wish to highlight the recently concluded G20 summit, which is in New Delhi, the capital of my country, India. And the summit had a beautiful and aptly worded theme based on the ancient Sanskrit shloka which said, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. And in English, this means one earth, one family, one future. And this means that compassion transcends all physical boundaries and looks at the entire earth as its scope. And only with compassion can we have one future for our one earth, for our one family, known as humanity. So the first story I want to share with you was when I went to Thailand for a field trip and I visited a gibbon rehabilitation center. And when I was there, I was amazed to see the work that the center was doing for rescuing gibbons. But I was also horrified to learn that the stories that each gibbon had to go through. So over 40 years, Thailand has seen its most intelligent wildlife species being poached to near extinction. And tourists are also unmindful that the pictures that they take with the gibbons are also driving it closer to extinction. And the center highlights that these cute baby gibbons are being illegally obtained by killing their mothers, and funding such brutal activities like taking pictures on the beach will drive them closer to extinction. And when I heard about this news, I was completely distraught, but I also felt a sinking feeling in my heart because I thought there was nothing I could do. But after listening to the rehabilitation center's messages and understanding their atmosphere, I was more inclined to help them. So what I did was I spent all of my extra pocket money that I was going to buy with souvenirs and toys, but instead I adopted a gibbon. And this in turn led to a chain reaction where other of my classmates adopted gibbons. And this is the power of compassion that can melt away materialistic desires like souvenirs and toys. So the next story I want to share with you is about my mom, who is sitting somewhere in the audience. So when we were living in Singapore for some time, my mom volunteered for the Chen Chu Lan Methodist Children's Home in Singapore, where which was a government-funded center, which helps children who are from low-income or dysfunctional backgrounds. And there was this one girl in particular who was not interested in doing like tuition, like English or maths, but instead she just wanted to listen to my mother speaking stories. And my mother's voice and the girl's imagination filled her with so much love and affection that she desperately missed at home. And this is a reminder to all of us that we are all privileged to have loving parents, but there are some that we need to fill out the depth for. Okay, the last story I want to share with you is something that is very close to me, and I'm sure it's all close to you, which is food. So there's a quote that I always say, most people eat to live, but I live to eat. I love eating food, especially my mother's cooking, and I also love to cook, although I only know how to make like instant noodles. And so I combined this passion of food and volunteering to go to the Willing Heart Soup Kitchen in Singapore, which cooks and packs meals for the elderly, poor, and disabled. And it was an amazing feeling to help pack and cook these meals for the poor at 5 a.m. in the morning. And I know it may be hard for all of us to feel what it means to be hungry, but sadly it's a harsh reality for many of us in the world. So that is something we must not forget. So these were a few of the stories I wanted to share with you, but some of you may be asking, Ishan, how can I better demonstrate compassion? How can I come to a TED Talk and share you my stories? Well, my answer is very simple, but it just needs a little bit of practice. According to Lisa Rankin, who is a physician and author, she says the first step is to practice self-compassion, which means to be comfortable in your own skin and not doubting your abilities. So when I was in Thailand and learning about the atrocities of the gibbons, I was doubting myself that I cannot do anything to save these gibbons. But eventually I learned that even a small contribution to adopting the gibbons can make such a big difference in their community. And this is what self-compassion is, to always trust your instincts. And the next step is to put yourself in other people's shoes and practice compassion without thinking about any rewards that you will get. And my mother is a perfect example of this. Wherever she was in the world, she was always there to help out her community. And she did not think about any rewards like money. She was only there to make a positive contribution to her community. Okay. And the last step I want to share with you is presence, which means you are not distracted and you are focusing on helping those in need. So when I was in the soup kitchen, for example, all I was doing was cooking and packing meals and cooking and packing meals. And I was not looking at my phone or fooling around. And this helped me understand the effects of self-compassion or compassion in general,
and what it means to be hungry for a few days in a row. And this is why I tell everyone that practicing presence is very important. And I know this may seem hard for us, but don't worry, because according to research from the Colombian Dispatch, compassion medically benefits both the giver and the receiver.
So now to close off the speech, I wish to highlight some words from famous teacher and anthropologist Joan Halifax, where she says that compassion activates the motor cortex in our brain,
which aspires us to eliminate suffering. And we are all blessed here that we have the opportunities to help those in need. So we should all go out there and eliminate the sufferings of millions of out there. Deva Kutumba.